And we're back.
Hello, welcome back. And oh yeah, go to the menu. Okay, hello, welcome back. We found the save thingy. It's you.
What? You're still reading? No, wait, it's me. You read last time. I do. I would love nothing more, but I think it's best to visit the nursery before it gets too late. My intuition tells me an investigation of that place may yield important information. We can relax later in the evening.
Just like that, we were in Star Wars. I learned some time ago that there was no point in trying to change the doctor's mind. Yeah, the doctor's mind. When he got an idea in the head.
And then we went into the TARDIS.
So, although I was thoroughly exhausted, I made no protest. We went... We went down on each other from in front of the desk and acquired a map of the town as well as directions to the nursery.
As it turned out, it was extremely close, less than 10 minutes walk along the river. That said, it was not a pleasant stroll. A foul metallic odor permeated the air. The riverway was filthy, with various bits of disgusting debris strewn everywhere, including what looked like animal remains. And those bones, it looked like children bones.
Things did not improve as we approached our destination. The nursery was down an inconspicuous alley, so we might have missed it were, if not the sound of wailing children that drifted on into the street. I thought it was on the river.
It was immediately obvious that it was not the happiest of places, but neither of us could have imagined just how desperate it would be.
Just leaving all their shit buckets in front of the door.
All the bones are everywhere. I'll see the bones inside that one and that one. Okay. A slapdash sign hung above the door, and the nursery was lined with buckets along its front entry. I assumed they contained potted plants or the like, so I was horrified when I realized the truth.
Good Lord! I think I'm going to be sick! ...
It is disturbing to me, sir.
Are you gonna...
Oh, sure. Outwardly, the doctor conveyed a calm expression, but his complexion was a bit green.
God!
It's the children! Instead of plants, each bucket contained a child. The children were completely deboned, so they looked like small fleshy puddles. Many of them were sobbing, so it caused quite a din.
Never have I seen such horrors. That sort of depraved monster could be running this place.
Before the doctor could reply, a shadowy figure crept in behind me.
You there. What are you doing here? Wah! Wah!
Homer's dying!
What in the devil?
I ran off in surprise. He faded away. Terribly sorry. I am Anthony Darley. And that man hiding behind the trash can is my assistant, Mr. Alex Maine. Who might you be? You can just do a manly voice.
I'm Miss Evelyn Merwin, and I ran this nursery.
Well, the doctor's composure escaped him, but he found it quickly enough. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Miss Merwin's eyes narrowed suspiciously.
I've never seen you before. You're from out of town, I take it.
Yes.
What are you doing here?
I was called in to consult on a medical case. The woman's face brightened a bit on hearing this.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't realize you have to help. Here. I was beginning to suspect that one of... I need water.
No, you don't.
Even reading my letters. Much less take action on them.
I'm sorry, but letters? A confused look came across the woman's face, and she again put her guard up.
Wait a minute. Aren't you the government? Oh, assholes. Did you come into this town?
You freaking sound like the guy from Men in Black 1. I was called in to consult about the mayor's son. Upon hearing this, Miss Merriman's entire body tensed and a dark look returned to her face. She tried to adopt an impassive demeanor, but her disdain for the doctor was palpable.
I see. This is a case of no business here. Your time will be spent at Mr. Comfort's estate.
Stop dying. The doctor allowed himself a sad laugh. Yes, I'm afraid Mr. Comfort shares that fitted.
Fidget spinner. You mean to say Mr. Comfort didn't send you here?
I don't even know if that's gonna be picked up. You need subtitles. Oh no. If anything, I'm here in spite of his wishes. Miss Merriman was taken aback by the doctor's candor. She expected him to tell the company lie.
Why are you here?
The doctor paused, choosing his words carefully. I suppose it's because Mr. Cunderfor and I have differing opinions about the best way to treat the boy. Mr. Cunderfor believes I should focus my attention exclusively on his son. Now, admit in many cases that would be the best attack. But in this case, well, the doctor glanced over at the buckets of children. Clearly, there's something much bigger at play. Miss Merriman was silent. The doctor looked at her compassionately. I'm sorry. I know it's none of my business, but you mentioned something about writing letters, asking for help. Miss Merriman blushed furiously. She no doubt regretted tipping her hand to a complete stranger. It is true that I was called to this town to treat Linus in particular, but if I'm able to determine the root cause of his affliction, there's a good chance it could benefit these youngsters as well. So I was hoping I could cajole you into answering a few questions for me. It would be tremendous help. I promise not to monopolize too much of your time. Miss Merriman thought about this for a moment, then sighed wearily.
Very well. I can spare a few minutes.
Wonderful, thank you. First off, may I examine one of the children? I promise it will be completely non-invasive. Miss Merriman seemed hesitant. I'm a trained medical doctor, if that's of any consolation.
Touching cookies.
He's back!
That's the half of it. I need to fix up my voice now. He's one of the greatest doctors in the world.
Mr. Romaine, please. Miss Merriman looked at both of them and offered a hesitant nod.
Good in a sec.
The doctor went over to the nearest bucket and bent down beside it. The child resembled a quivering blob of fleshy pudding. The doctor found the poor child's arm and took its pulse and other vital signs. Bad over. Other than their lack of bones, the children did not appear to have suffered from any physical wounds.
Ooh.
The doctor stood up and returned his attention to Miss Merriman. Could you describe the circumstances that surrounded the deboning of these poor creatures?
It all started about 2 months ago with that boy Tyler over there.
Miss Merriman's motioned towards one of the buckets.
He woke up on the leg bone missing over the course of the next several nights. The rest of his bones went missing, one after another. Then the affliction moved to another boy, Matthew, there.
She motioned to another bucket. Interesting. So, when you say it moved on to Matthew, do you mean it only ever affected one child at a time?
Well, for most part, well, actually, Tyler and Matthew were special case. After Tyler's second bone went missing, the townspeople came together to watch over him at night. That vigil, their vigil did indeed prevent Tyler from losing another bone that night. But instead,
Can't you just use
Matthew's
that?
arm bone went missing instead.
Yeah, that.
This made
not that
townspeople worried that the affliction might contagious. From then on, was every family for themselves. Then the parents weren't able to watch over their children. And
Stop dying. Where the hell were you?
what with the long hours they were worked at the mines.
You mean the mines run by Mr. Commodore? No.
Yes, the mines employed almost everyone, so he basically runs the whole town. A miner's life is always tough, but over the past several months, Cunderford ramped up production. You either work long hours without complaint, or you lose your job.
Damn, stop sounding demonic. The doctor returned to the subject of the children. I see, but it sounds like only one bone went missing per night. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. After the affliction worked its way through the boys, except Mr. Coverford's son, it moved on to the girls.
And always at night when the children were sleeping?
Like me. That's right. And in each case with no outward appearance of injury.
Has the affliction targeted any adults or animals?
No. Well, no adults at least. There hasn't been many animals around recently, so I can't commit on that. Them.
Miss Mary grimaced as she said this. The doctor rubbed his chin as he processed all that he had heard. It would be most helpful to talk to one of the parents of the Deboned children. Do you think that would be possible?
Well, like I said, most of them are working on the mines. They won't come by until very late to pick up their children. Plus, they're probably reluctant to talk to you in any event.
Why is that? Miss Merriman paused to carefully choose her words.
Gossip travels fast, and it
just read normally. This will take forever.
long before people know who employs you. If Mr. Citizen doesn't want you to talk to them, then you won't want to talk to you.
You sound like you're dying.
I need water.
No, you don't.
Well, I probably shouldn't be seen taking to you either, for that matter. Mr. Comerford, Coachman Sampson stables his carriages around here when he was in business in town, so he's often lurking around.
About.
Anyway, it's almost supper time for the children, so
The doctor opened his mouth as though to speak, but then simply closed it and furrowed his brow. Of course. Then I suppose I shouldn't impose on you any longer. But if I may. The doctor took a step towards Miss Merriman, causing a slight blush to flush her cheeks. The doctor spoke in a low voice. If there were a more discreet time we could meet, I have a few more questions I'd like to ask you. I may be a Mr. Comerford employee,
yes.
but I have no desire or interest in spying on his behalf or getting anyone in trouble. If any parent would speak with me, I'd be sure to keep our discussion in the strictest confidence. Miss Merriman seemed flustered and turned away. She wrung her hands as though deep in thought.
Tomorrow morning, like really early, at around 4. No one's about at this time, so I could talk to you in a little more then. 4 in the morning? One of the parents usually shows up around then and visit the kid, her kid, too. So maybe she'd be willing to talk to you, but I could not make no promises. Oh, no. No
I understand. Thank you, Miss Merriman. You've been most helpful.
Oh, no, thank you.
Let's return to the hospital, Mr. O'May.
The hospital? Think of the hotel. With that, we headed back along the river to the hotel and returned our makeshift lab.
As I said about finalizing the test data, the doctor sat quietly in the corner, mulling over the information we had gathered thus far. A very odd case indeed. What do the blood tests indicate?
I triple-checked the results. Nothing in the boy's blood chemistry was out of the ordinary.
I suspected as much.
Why is that, Doctor?
Remember what Miss Merriwood said. The children's bones disappeared one after the other, going from child to child. The only exception being the night they were guarding the one boy. On that night, and that night only, a different boy lost a bone. Can you think of any infectious disease that spreads in this manner?
No, of course not. One would expect a disease to infect larger and larger groups of people, not just moving from person to person in such methodical manner.
And we'll do this in another episode because this is long.
Yeah, it's getting a bit too long, so see you guys next time.
Bye.
Yeah.